Om Vang me manasi pratisthita mano me vachi pratishthitam aviravirma edi vedasyama ani sthaha shrutam me ma prahasi anenadhitena horatran samdadhami ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम् अवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. So we stopped at number 5. Sanjana na upasidana bhijnu patnivantah namasyam namasyan ririktavan sah tanua kranvata suah sakha sakhiyuh nimishi rakshamana ririktav ririkvan sah tanua kranvata svah. Yes, stop. Sakha sakyuh nimishi rakshamana. So utterly knowing him with their wives, there we stopped, came and knelt before him and adored with obeisance the adorable. They made themselves empty and formed their own bodies, guarded in his gaze. Friend in the gaze of friend. It creates an atmosphere. Yes. Interestingly, that with Patnis they came with their forces, Shaktis, and they formed their bodies. Something to do with manifestation. So my interpretation, agreeing together, they approached him and with their wives on their knees surrendered to him, worthy of surrender. They emptied their spaces, cleansed their inner being, and made their own bodies, their own extensions in time and space, protecting them as the friend when the other friend is closing his eyes to rest. I'm kind of expanding this translation nimishi, literally when closed, when eyes are closed, when you are resting. Um, there are interesting here thoughts coming immediately. Agreeing together, they approached him with their wives on their knees. That means totally surrendering themselves and their shaktis, their actions, their life. They who namasyan, they who are seeking surrendering, seeking total, yeah, giving up their lives to the one who is worthy to give up to. There is this distance from us wanting to surrender to the higher force, to become higher in our functioning, in our consciousness. And we are looking for the one to whom we can give it, that we would acquire those qualities of consciousness. And he is the one, Namasya. He is the one who is worthy to surrender to. So, and here it's interesting this rikvansach tonuach krinvatasvach, and emptying or vacating the spaces inside, most probably in inner spaces, They made their own extensions in time and space. Tanuach swach Karanavata they are making. So it, it kind of
Like offering
mhm.
those spaces, like an offering.
Yes, definitely offering. It's always offering when you vacate the space, you vacate it for someone to come and
Right.
to occupy. So I've used here this idea from Sri Aurobindo, the hour of God. In the hour of God, cleanse thy soul of the self-deceit and hypocrisy and vain self-flattering, that thou mayst look straight into thy spirit and hear that which summons it. This is exactly this, Ririkvansach, yeah?
Mm.
Cleansing, purifying, vacating from all those guests who are not cherished guests who are not invited. They are all settled there in our inner spaces. They are ruling our lives with their habits, with their forces. They all have to be vacated or cast out. All insincerity of nature, once thy defense against the eye of the master and the light of the ideal becomes now a gap in thy armor and invites the blow. Interesting how Sri Aurobindo puts it, yes? All insincerity of nature wants thy defense against the eye of the master. So we use the insincerity as defense against the eye of our master, that he should not see us, he should not know us. We want to be our own selves separately from him. We don't want the intrusion of truth. We want what we want. Yeah, that is our truth. So the insincerity is the way. I never saw anywhere this kind of formulation. Insincerity is the way of defense against the eye of the master and the light of the ideal. No, I don't want to be ideal. It's too idealistic. It's too heavy. And like you were speaking about this when we were younger, maybe we would not understand this. What is there in being idealistic? Doesn't give anything good, doesn't do anything good. Look at the idealists. Poor people, sannyasis going around without food, without money, without life. So there is no real attraction to that idealism. So in sincerity, we were taught from our childhood how to survive, how to manipulate, how to present oneself. Mother has a very beautiful passage on sincerity. She says, sincerity is the state in which you will not present anything which is which is profitable to you. Yeah? So to say, you will not do the manipulation which will give you some advantage. This is sincerity. And if you think of it, we don't know even how to do it, really, because it's so inbuilt, it's so subtle there that yeah, you can do it just the opposite. You can start criticizing yourself, as many do, because this is the way how we can get out from this insincerity, of always being profitable. But even that people turn into profit. Yeah, criticizing themselves becomes a coin for getting some particular. I'm so humble, I'm not kind of this and that. We see this in India, they learned it very well. In the West, they are more stupid, they are more direct, promoting themselves. In India, it's not so clear, it's all hidden, lovely packed up with the humility and all that. It's amazing how our ego can manage anything, all the divine forces. So I'm saying this, that this emptying is cleansing, preparing the space, the inner space for the new your own extension of your own self. They make their own true extension in time and space, which our body should be. This idea that one's own extension on body, which becomes automatically, how to say, a protection for our spirit, for our soul, is the, how to say, the projection of the inner self into the outer consciousness. It's like the psychic being coming to the front, and it takes charge of our physical, vital, and mental bodies. And in that sense, they become protective. They are Rakshamana, yes. Um, they are protecting from now on mechanically, automatically, as it were, because they are already charged with the spirit. It's an interesting idea of transformation. And from here we have this idea of punya also in the Indian tradition, yes? Punya is that what you acquired already over a long period of time as a habit. And that habit to be spiritual, to be truthful, to be pure is becoming your, you know, uh, how to say, uh, planning, not planitude, there is a word, your achievement, the achievement which will give you a support in the fight in the future with anti-divine forces. So you have already some foundation which will support you in the time of difficulty. If you don't have that punya, if you don't have that acquired wealth, as it were, of spiritual working, that habit, that karma, profitable karma, then you would not be able to easily manage the anti-divine forces. So that's how they build their own extensions. Otherwise, it becomes a gap in your armor, this insincerity. But this statement, once thy defense against the eye of the master and the light of the ideal, insincerity, which we used all the time and still using it, if we want to protect ourselves against the intrusion of the spirit, the intrusion of the truth. Truth is too painful for this lower being, which is used to live in accordance with its own, habits. I remember Ramayana had on me a very great impact. When you read Ramayana in original in Sanskrit, like you read one page and all the problems, psychological anxieties, fears, insecurities are gone. One page. You don't need to do anything. Just read it through. Read that rhythm, that purity of formation. And I remember I used it for quite some time, for many years, as my own kind of healing way of my own inner state. And I remember when I didn't want to get out of that anxiety or that particular state of, chewing on something which I wanted to get some other juice out of it. So, and in that state, I couldn't read the Ramayana. Yeah, I tried, but I couldn't because something in me wanted more that that particular state of lower fight within me or some kind of judgment or some state which I had to overcome and so on. And it didn't want the solution which was given. Take it. And I don't want to take it because this state, lower state, is dearer to me. Yeah? And this is something about the same. This once thy defense against the eye of the master and the light of the ideal. This is the defense in sincerity. Okay, we go to the next one. Trisaptah yad guhyani tueit padavidan Nihita yajñāsah tebhih rakshanti amritam sajoshah pashuncha sthatrin charatham chapahi. When the masters of sacrifice have found hidden in thee the tri-seven secret planes, by them they guard, with one mind of acceptance, immortality, protect the herds, those that stand, and that which is mobile. My interpretation, when those who are worthy of transformation discovered, yajñāsa can be translated masters of the sacrifice, or those who are to be sacrificed better than others, who are ready to be transformed more than others, so to say. Yajñāsa, it's comparative adjective. In you, discovered in you the 3 times 7 secret places. These are secret planes, padani, guhyani padani, hidden formations, hidden steps, or hidden meanings, hidden words. I associate this 3 sapta, 3 times 7. This is also a symbolic meaning of the all possible relations between in the words, like you have 7 cases and you have 3 numbers. Yeah? We spoke about this most probably before. Yeah? I already was even showing this. I can show you now again. Wait a minute. If you have any questions, you always interrupt. Yeah? Or something to say, not only questions. So this what I was showing, maybe not showing, I do not remember. These are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 karakas
I
in.
have a question, Vladimir.
Yeah, Rashi.
My question is like when you were talking about sincerity, and when we talk about, so what is the ideal way of introducing yourself when you're in a new place and you meet new people?
New place, new people, new self. New yourself. Yeah? So what should you be in that new situation? Be yourself. Be your true self. You have an opportunity to be your true self in that moment of time. Otherwise, they will drag you down into that kind of habitual way of being. Mm.
Hmm. So when they ask you about you, what do you even say? Because what you're gonna say is what you've already been, right? What your narrative has always been. So when you can't just say, "Hi, my name is Rashi," and then what do you do?
And then if you ask me what I would do, yes,
Yes.
I would do nothing really. I would wait for them to interact with you. My name is Rashi, and you wait what
I'm,
they want to know. And if they want to know
Mhm.
something, you give them the deepest answer you can about yourself. If they are
Mhm.
interested, if they are interested in how much you earn and where you live, then you say that. You don't need to say more.
Okay. Thank you, Vladimir. That
Oh,
helps a lot.
I know. I know that. Well, I would do it like this. I would not impose myself, listen, here I am. You know what I did in all my life. I would not do that. Yeah.
Yeah,
People
yeah.
may not want to know anything of the kind. You will be like very frustrated at the end.
No, no, yeah. I'm so quiet that I'm like then I'm just quiet. So I just want to know. And then if I have to speak, I speak the whole thing, like what I am, what I've done. And right now you just said
If
that's
they
also,
want,
it
if they
doesn't feel
want.
right.
Yeah,
Yes.
if they want.
Yeah.
And mainly
Okay.
people want something old, yeah, something which you can present as already, done. So you can do that. Yeah, it's harmless and it's protecting you. You have to hide yourself also from new people, not reveal yourself immediately. Yeah,
Mm,
because you may find misunderstanding there, and also lose some
mm,
part of yourself. Believe in yourself if they start
mm,
hitting you back. So wait for the true friend.
mm,
In the look of the friend, in the eye of the friend, you have to be protected. Yeah. Mm.
mm. Okay. Thank you, Vladimir.
Oh well, you're welcome. Good to know. Okay. All right. If that is the only thing, so I'm coming back to this 7 times 3. So you see 7 major meanings which define all our relations in this world, and they are called karakas. Panini, it's a Paninian grammar, Sanskrit language, and we have vibhaktis, and there are 7 cases and 3 vachanas, 3 different numbers. Ekavachanam, dvivachanam, bahuvachanam. Interestingly, if you count them together, it will be 21, or 3 times 7. And I was thinking about this quite a bit because from my linguistic background, yeah, I believe that these are the fundamental meanings of everything we can do in this world. There are no more than these. Can you believe that? You can't find some other relations other than these 7. So, what 7 are? What are these 7? This is first is karta, the doer, the actor, the one who is, nominative case. Yeah? Without nominative case, nothing can be said about nothing because you don't have the nominative. You don't have the case about which you will be talking. You don't have the substantive or the form or the action or the case which will be the nominative. So you can't say much. So nominative is the major, the first, number 1. And Panini puts them in order, which is also important and symbolic with numbers. Karma is the act. So the nominative acts, and it becomes the accusative case, direct object. Yeah. So, for example, I see you, I actor seeing you, you are my object. Yeah? I speak to you, you are the direct case. I go home, home is a direct case. Yeah? So all of these cases or these relations are connected through the verb. Verb is something which is holding them together. Yeah? I am, this to be, going home. Going home, home is a direct object, karma. I see you, you is karma, I is the actor. So it's always the case. So 3 are the fundamental, these first 2. I go home, and then how I go home, instrumental. I go home happily, slowly, quickly, and so on. So it answers to the question how. You know? By bus, by train, and so on, by bicycle. Um, so I go home by bus. I go home by bus, it's first 3 karakas. And then some pradhanam. What for? I go home by bus for dinner, for something else to happen, which is connected to the future, not to this action immediately. I go home by bus is here, but then for dinner will be next. For what? You know? Dative case. Apadanam. Apadanam is ablative case. I'm going home by bus for dinner from the office. So that from belongs to the past, for belongs to the future. So I'm going home by bus is in the middle, for dinner and from home, or it can be not from home. It can be because my father called me or by my wife called me that the dinner is ready. So because there is some cause which made me go home by bus for something. You see it, yeah? Going home by bus and for something and because of something. These are 5 first karakas. Then Sambandha, he doesn't call a karaka because it is not connected through the verb. All these are connected through the verb. Sambandha is connected uh, to the substantive, to my home, to my mother's home, from my office to my mother's home. So my office, my mother's home does not require verb action. So that's why the genitive case is only like an adjective defining the substantives. And then adhikaranam, location in time and space. I am going home by bus at 7 o'clock on the street, if you want, at 7 and on the street, 2 locations in time and space, for dinner from the office. And this is all we can do with our mind. There are no more relations. Yes.
I was just asking, you said these are all that we can do.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, are these all that we can have without the do verb in it? I mean, is this all that is there?
These are the mental categories of the mind. Yeah? Indra is the first grammarian, the Lord of the Divine Mind, who created the meaningful relations which created this world. Yeah. So if you look at the reality, do or have doesn't matter. It doesn't change the anything in principle.
It's a relation. So a verb is also a relation. It's so
Yes, the verb is equals. Yeah. So
okay,
the subject equals object, so to say.
okay,
I
okay.
am happy. Yeah.
Yes, okay, I got it. I got it. I got
Uh-huh.
it.
So that equality sign is all in all 6 karakas except the
Sambandha.
Sambandha. It's quite amazing that Panini noticed that, yes, because it was not known at all, these. So Panini distinguishes the meaningful semantic relations from syntactic, from subparadigm. He says there is a difference between karakas and the formal organization of the language. Yeah? Because not necessarily these karakas relate directly to the what do you call them, vibhaktis.
Okay.
Cases, syntactic cases, how we organize verbs, words, are not in full correspondence with karakas, not one to one. Many times it doesn't fit. For example, passive voice. So the house is built by me, yes? So the house is nominative, but it is an object. And by me is the subject who built the house, yeah? So it turns everything upside down. By me is instrumental, the house is nominative. So karakas do not fit into the passive voice in their proper kind of distinction. So to say there are cases which would be alternative solutions. So sometimes you use their direct object as karma, sometimes as adhikaranam also. So there are things which in the language it's more like a living situation, and you use these meanings to adjust to the language. Yeah? But the meanings are eternal and fundamental. Yeah? And the
So
numbers,
in a sense, karakas are more fundamental. Is
yes,
that how I would understand it?
yes,
Okay. Okay.
they we cannot avoid them. And
Well,
if
they have not come into the language yet. When you
oh,
come to the language, you could have different formulations, but the karakas are more fundamental in meaning. Is that how?
right, absolutely. So
Okay.
you can see these karakas immediately, karta, karma, karanam. You immediately see that nothing can be expressed in consciousness without the one who is expressing what he wants to express and how he wants to do it. So you can see who, what, how. Interesting, yeah? Who, what, how. first three. And what I discovered that it is actually projected into the philosophy of Hinduism, yes? Sat, Chit, Ananda. And then you see some pradhanam as Vijnana. What for it is all this needed? Because it's needed for manifestation. There will be a projection into Vijnana is number 4 by numbers. Yeah? Then apadhanam, the mind is always looking to the cause, and only with the cause mind understands the the outcomes. And then sambandha is more prana, how things relate in one tapestry of relations, and adhikaranam is matter, annam, where everything is located.
That was amazing, Vladimir. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
it's a wow. It's such a thing if
But
you think of,
absolutely great.
yeah.
Yeah, because Chit does sort of form a relationship between consciousness and Ananda. So in a sense, it
Yes.
is.
And it is something which is taking the sat in a particular aspect, you know, and projects it in a particular aspect. So I home related through me going there, yeah? Or I
Absolutely.
think about a home, or I see home, or there are many, many ways of how I and home will come together. Yeah? And that is how Chit is doing it, yeah, doing karma for me. And Karanam is exactly how that relation is taking place, and that is Ananda.
Yes.
It's amazing that I was thinking maybe grammar was first, or maybe they were both first, you know, nobody was first. It's just the truth of. So if you look at these more formal relations, you will see that we have also 3 numbers, which is interesting because ekavachanam has to stand on its own. Dvivachanam is an amazing number which gives us more scope for understanding. So you remember there is Taoism. In Taoism, Lao Tzu says at the beginning was one, and one became two, and two became many. So for many to become, you need two. Two is kind of self-reflection upon oneself, yeah? And that self-reflection, that duality of within oneself creates everything else, any projection of oneself in. Sometimes it is called trivachanam, not bahuvachanam. Three, number 3. So, and
This is like the story of creation, because one became two and two became many is basically the story of Purusha, Aditi, and the creation of the world, isn't it?
yes, yes, absolutely. And also Satchit Ananda. If you see how they describe Satchit Ananda, you will see Shankaracharya and Sri Aurobindo the same. Sat is the one who is, Chit is the one what is, and Ananda what becomes. Interesting. Ananda's Bahuvachanam will be always an emanation of that conscious existence. Yeah?
And Chit is actually Dvi because it is Chit Tapas together always, isn't
Right,
it?
right. So you can see that we have Prathama Vibhakti for 3 of them, then we have Dvitiya Vibhakti for 3 of these categories, and you have the full set of all possible meanings and relations. And you,
Can you explain once more about the adhikaranam? Like adhikaranam, is it like the right kind of entitlement, but right? So how is it relating to location, place, and
well,
thing?
here Paninian Sutra, Adharo Adhikaranam just explains by itself. Adhara is Adhikaranam. Adhikaranam is Adhar. Adhar is a location, vessel. Everything which is located in time and space in some particular form is adhikaranam, locative case. I am at home. Yeah, I sit on the chair or in the chair, uh, and so on. So where you are located, where you are in time, yes, located, Any location in time or space is locative case.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So we
And
have,
I was also wondering about that introduction question about the sincerity that you mentioned a few minutes ago. So, like many times, what happens is like if you are if one wants to know deeply, like people are not willing to say, or people are a bit surprised because that's not the social norm. So how can you navigate through that situation? Because sometimes you might want to know something, but uh, because it's not the accustomed social custom, so people kind of think you are different, or and it's not kind of very much accepted. So how do you navigate those areas?
that's where we use insincerity. we, we have to present ourselves in some way that people may like us or not hurt us or not create problems for us. That's where we are constantly navigating, because everybody is navigating. Yeah? They are also doing it, and when they come to you with this navigation, and what can you do? Can you be sincere with them when they are navigating all the time? The best way, of course, is to be yourself, regardless of the. But if you expect certain reaction from them, which is favorable to you, then I don't know. In the insincere context, it becomes very difficult to be sincere. You will be like a, black sheep or something.
Yeah, especially as you mentioned in the Indian scenario, especially if you're working with authority, it's very hard because they can create a lot of problems.
Yeah.
So that's what I was like, especially like teacher or your boss or something. So it's kind of that's why the trend is so much like that. So that's why I was wondering. It's very hard like to navigate because so much problems are created. So that's why I was wondering. Yeah.
Yeah, but we are talking here in the context of spirituality. And if you are really interested in spirituality, then you have to be yourself, yeah, regardless of the reaction. But if you are interested in getting some favorable results, then you have to think what to do. It's up to you. Um, I had a kind of advantage of living in Auroville, and in Auroville everybody speaks their mind, whatever you think you say, regardless to what others think. And that's the very difficult place to live. Yeah? Everybody says something to you. Yeah, so, but in some way it is creating a freedom for you. You can breathe. Yeah? You can be yourself. You don't need to pretend to be yourself. Yeah? Okay, let's go ahead. So these sapta, this sapta three times, padani, guhyani padani, avidan, they discovered yajniyasag, those who are ready for sacrifice. And tebich, and by them, rakshante, they protected amritam, the immortality. Immortality is hidden behind these relations. Sajoshach, agreeing together, protecting. That's why, that's how, protect, Pahi, Pashun, all the creatures, all the conscious creatures, Statrino, those who stay, Charathamcha, and those who move. I think if we would be totally aware of these 7 meanings and really aware in our mind would transform into a very efficient instrument of helping us out. Because to be successful in any action, you have to cover all these 7 major meanings. Yeah? If you answer to all of these questions, that means who, what, how, what for, because of what, yes, and where and how, and in where in time and space, and with whom it is connected, then you have the full set of all possible relations. The problem is that we are always covering few. We don't cover all. We are always interested in what for and how, but who and we don't really cover. This is something we avoid, and also time and space and relations we avoid. And because of that, we have many problems in every field of endeavor. Business you take, if you make a business plan, if you cover all these major 7 meanings, you will have a successful business plan, actually.
Also, I as the subject tends to distort our understanding. I think I becomes an implicit subject in all our understanding of grammar. That probably is a problem.
Yeah.
That clarity is not there.
Yeah, subject is not only I, it is any nominative case, yeah? So that means can be tree subject or you or he, depends. It's a grammatical category.
No. What I meant is we tend to make it I. Whenever we see any object, we implicitly add the I to that sentence. I think,
Yeah,
you know, because of the ego and things.
Ego. Yeah, the ego
Yeah.
comes in front.
Yes.
well, it's quite kind of natural for us to have a ego to come to the front. The freedom is in understanding that even I is one of the subjects, yeah? So any other nominative, inclusive of I, not excluding it, because excluding is another kind of becomes a problem. The ego starts manipulating with information in such a way that it will find its position in a different setting. It's very clever. It survived many attempts to be banished. So spiritualized ego. Shubhendra speaks about it. Yeah, ego which is already, which views itself differently. Yes, a spiritual being and so on. So I would rather take it as a linguistic phenomena and look at it objectively. There is such a thing as I. And you see, Tantra also interestingly speaks about aham differently. Ahanta and idanta, we will come to this one day. And they don't kind of see it as a problem. Subjectivism, subjective viewing, yes, we associate I with many things around us, but truly speaking, the deepest I is yourself, your true self. Yeah? It's not a presentation of your true self, as the ego is. Yeah? So one can deconstruct it and look at this term independently without really assigning it too much a meaning. That one meaning. By the way, Veda teaches us to do this. Veda teaches us not to be stuck with terms because terms are only indicators. They are something kind of building up the meaning which we may apply in different way. Everything can be applied wrongly. Every truth can be misrepresented, yeah? Easily. So, okay, let's do the next one. The last for today. Vidvan Agne Vayunani Kshetinam Vi Anushakshurudho Jivi Sedhah Antar Vidan Adhvaro Deva Yanan Atandro Duto Abhavo Avirvat. O fire, thou art the knower of our knowings. Ordain for the people an unbroken succession of strengths, that they may live, the knower within of the paths of the journey of the gods, Thou hast become a sleepless messenger and the carrier of the offerings. You can see what Sri Aurobindo says, that Vedic rishis use the same terminologies, the same imagery all the time, tirelessly. They do not look for, kind of ornamentation of poetry. For them, the functionality, spiritual functionality is the most important. They are, as Sri Aurobindo says, spiritually utilitarian. They are not interested to be, decorative or presentational. They are more interested in hitting the truth, the nerve. So here the same, the continuous repetition of the same imagery in different settings creates this direct impact on our consciousness. O flame, knowing all the paths, establish your power uninterruptedly for living. This uninterruptedly, Anushak, is important. The inner knower of the paths of the journey of the gods, vigilant messenger, you have become, carrying our offering. I'm translating differently at Andrach. Sleepless, tireless, literally, messenger. I'm translating tireless as vigilant, as the one who notices all the dangers, who is constantly on alert, to notice and to remove the wrong traffic. Vidvan, knowing, knowledgeable, or Agni, Vayunani, all the Vayuna. Vayuna is an interesting word. It can be knowledge and can be path, both. Sri Aurobindo translates of our knowings. I translate of all the paths. You remember Agnenaya Supatheraya Asman Vishvani Deva Vayunani Vidvan Yuyodhyasmad Johranameno. It's from Isha Upanishad. Vayunani Vidvan. It's a constant epithet of Agni. Vayuna, interesting word, it's from V, to move. Vevi, moving, active, alive, waving, agitated, restless, clear, a path, a way, because it's moving. Clearness, brightness, distinctness also. Knowledge, wisdom. So it's from root V, that which moves, that which weaves into tapestry of relations, that which unites all events in a meaningful fashion, in comprehensive way. And that's why it can be knowledge and it can be the way, both. Oh, I jumped somewhere. Here it is. So knowing all the Vayunani, all the weavings, all the interactions, all the meanings which connect everything, Kshetinam, of all those who are dwellers, of all the peoples, Kshiti from root Kshi to dwell, so Kshiti is the dwelling one. Of all the dwelling people, or people, Vi anushak shurudho jivi sedhach, vidhach, distribute for the life jivi se, uninterruptedly shurudhach. Shurudhach is the power. Distribute successively, uninterruptedly your strength and presence throughout this weaving, meaningful interaction for life. Be present in every moment of our life, in other words.
So, Vladimir, as I understand it, with our limited knowledge, we have to offer this space to Agni so that it can be stretched in time and space to that knowledge.
Yes, we have to notice him present everywhere, which we don't do. We may notice that he it is now, now it is here, but next time we don't see him anymore. We have to see him uninterruptedly present through the whole tapestry of our movement on the path. We have to feel his presence all the time, yeah, day
Yeah.
and night. And when we do that, he will establish his force uninterruptedly for this life, this divine life, I would add.
Yeah. So we have to see his actions in our thoughts, in our actions, in our mind, in what we want to do or what we did.
Right.
In every which way, it's Agni, it's the force.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In our thoughts, when you said in our thoughts are also determined whether it is Agni there or not. If it is there, then our thoughts are very different about life. So we think about ordinary things in extraordinary way. We see the elements which we usually don't see. We see the uniqueness, as we spoke about symbolism in our
Yeah.
so this, you see in the normal things, absolutely abnormal presence of the spirit. It's everywhere around us, only we are used to see things as they are, as if, as it were. When I come to the, even look at this wall in front of me. What is the wall? The wall is some kind of protection on one side, and on the other side obstruction. How would you take it? What is it for you? It holds you within the space where you can find yourself, like you can be yourself, can relax in this moment of time. Why should you relax? Because there is a resistance somewhere which you have to face. You see, all this, all these meanings are somehow connected to the simple thing, wall, a wall in front of you. What to say about everything else? Everything else has this deeper significance. And when the fire is in your thoughts, in your feelings, you can see the world very differently and yourself in it.
Yes, very true. Even when that the question came up before about introducing yourself to someone, if at that moment you can just offer it to Agni, I don't know, that's me. Just the right words will come out.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely true. If you are on spiritual path and you are constantly doing this, you are safe. Whatever comes will be the right thing to be there in that moment of time, even if you are attacked afterwards, yeah? Because this is the thing to be done.
Yeah. Even Vladimir, when cooking, the first thing when it's done, just offer it to Agni first. That's what I do.
Very nice. And you are dealing with Agni all the time by cooking.
Yeah.
So, yeah. This is
That's
what India is doing. Cooking is the major thing.
well, that's how I remember Agni all the time.
Right? He's needed, yeah. Great helper. Yes, to make the delight, to cook the delight. Mm, yes.
Which which also brings me to another thought that when Sri Aurobindo was writing the books, I think Agni was present at all times in all places, and every word is so absolutely in its right place. I sometimes just, I mean, there was no other way that the sentence could have been constructed. I
Mm,
just feel it that way, you know. So
yeah. Somebody even said this in our meeting. Somebody, yeah, that when you said this, yeah, Oh, someone else. I forgot already. From agenda that when Sri Aurobindo was writing it in the night, these translations. Usually he was in the night from till 6 o'clock in the morning he was working. It was his time. He didn't sleep that in the night. And in the morning he was reading his translations to the mother and somewhere in agenda it's mentioned that Agni was coming, God Agni, to listen to his translations when he was reading to the mother.
Yes, in the last class, somebody mentioned this. Yes,
Yeah.
right.
I didn't find it in the agenda, but somewhere it must be. I don't remember this. There are other passages which Mother explains how Agni works, how she met Agni, Vedic Agni, heat in the nature. But not this one. I will find this one. Want to find that Agni was coming because all other gods were coming to meditation with the mother. All right, maybe we stop here and continue next time. Yes, this is in a knower of the path of the gods. This is also an interesting thing of Devayana. Devayanan, he knows the passages of the gods, how they come into the action here upon earth. And he is tireless, vigilant messenger who carries our offering, who takes care of what we offer to the divine for the transformation. Great, we can stop here.
Thank you, Vladimir, for another beautiful class.
Yes, you're welcome. This is beautiful for all of us. These luminous, chords of the Vedic rishis. Today I was sitting and looking at these verses and I thought, this is so grand. It acts upon your consciousness immediately. It is not, for me, it is like boom. I have to only look at it, and it is there. I think, God, how is that even possible? What is this Veda? What is this secret of the Veda? Then something is there which is so effective.
Yes. They don't want to come back to this life.
Yeah, we want this life. It is the spiritual life embracing all life, not leaving any bit of ordinary life for itself. It wants to take everything into the divine and make an offering to the divine. And this is so kind of, it makes you free from any kind of, rejection of anything. Everything has to be offered. So you don't need to judge. Just take an offer.
Yeah.
All right. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukha Bhag Bhavet Om Shanti 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 Hari